Another day. No more transfers. Before I get into that, what are they doing to us, guys? What are they doing to us? Like, it's day 197. What the fuck are they doing to us? Tonight, it's not just me that's going to be dealing with the fallout of this absolute mess, this misery that they seem to be putting on top of us. And I started the week very, very, very positive. Remember that. I'm joined by a couple of guests tonight, and I'm chuffed with this. A couple of them I think you may have seen on YouTube. We have Metch in the house, and we have Tez in the house. How are we, boys? We good? We good?
Yeah, man, all good. How are you?
I'm tired. I'm tired, you know. I'm tired. What more can I say about this transfer window? I was just saying to Metch off stream, every morning I wake up and I feel like, yes, start the day, get on Twitter, have a look, and it's just another video of training grounds. It's just another post about shirts. It's nothing about footballers, but what can you do? What can you do? How you doing, Metch?
Yeah, I'm all good, man. I'm easy, man. Same shit, different day, like you said, man. It's just the same shit, innit? We just got to be thing. We just got to be. It's like you're trying to stay positive, but it's like it's crazy. With all these transfers as well, it's just doing your head in.
Everywhere you look on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook, on the news, you know, BBC Sport, Sky Sports News. It's other clubs linked with other players, and there's us just sat there, you know, like we're like that prom date with the bouquet of flowers, hoping someone's going to pick us. And by 10 o'clock, when everyone's going home, we're still sat there with the same flowers that have drooped now. I can't lie, guys. I mean, I can't lie. Before we get into the stories of the day, I'll come to you first, Tez. What are your thoughts on the summer transfer window, and just how has this gone horrifically wrong?
Where do I even start? To be honest, I didn't really expect too much from United and the transfer dealings. I thought potentially the Mbeumo deal would be sorted. I thought, yeah, Cunha through the door, release clause. Mbeumo again, you know, 1 year left in his contract. You know, it'd be a similar-ish fee that Brentford would be asking for what United played for Cunha, but it's just been the typical merry-go-round. United have obviously you know, had a discussion with Amarin and said these are our number one targets and these are the players that, you know, we're going to bring in for you. But it's been very, very difficult because we're on a limited budget, so we can only potentially bring in 2 players, stop, and then have to clear out 4 or 5 to make more signings, and that's frustrating because everybody knows that. Whereas if that was more of a well-known secret, then potentially there could have been more, you know, smoke and mirrors where, you know, bids might have gone out for a couple other players and then you kind of land with your actual target. But because other teams and everyone knows that United have got 5 players that they want to get rid of, Sancho, Anthony, Rashford, Garnacho, Malacia, and that the club and the manager has also fallen out with some of those players, it puts us in a precarious position, really. Not to even mention that there's other positions that needs to be strengthened. You know, Onana's now picked up an injury. Do they go in and get a new keeper to challenge him and maybe replace him? You know, Casemiro, obviously, he's aging. He's only going to have 1 year left in his contract. Maguire's only going to have 1 year left in his contract. There's so much to do. And yeah, I do kind of feel for the manager, even though I wasn't his biggest fan last season for his tactics. But it's difficult when, you know, he's probably been promised things and he's probably been looking forward to going into pre-season with a couple new signings. But yeah, back to square one.
Back to square one. It seems it's literally a step forward, 10 steps back with Manchester United. Metch, you know, I feel for you because every day, you know, you're doing your news streams, and it's just every day we're having to sort of just regurgitate what's being said with the summer transfer window. As Tez said there about, you know, we went in straight away, we got Cunha through the door, and everybody sat there, myself included. I went, hang on a minute, this isn't what United normally do. You know, we normally wait 4 or 5 weeks before we even look at a player, and here we are getting this player in straight away. So we've gone from being completely positive, looking at this as, right, okay, the first step's done, on to the next one. Where do you sit now with it?
You asking me, yeah?
Yeah.
Mate, like you said, when it started, we had when Cunha on the first day, that was the 1st of June. The second, we got linked with Mbeumo, and then he prefers Man United. The third was Bruno might go Saudi. It just started crazy for us. And then it's like it's just mellowed down for like 7 weeks, which doesn't even make no sense. And when you're actually seeing the reports, it's like we're just being patient. It doesn't even make sense of what's really going on with the Mbeumo deal. It's like it's a patient game. We don't want to barge. They don't want to barge. It's just the ego thing. It don't really make no sense. So it's just the whole thing is just, mate, like you said, I report it every day. So 1 minute I'm seeing this link that's saying that we're close. Remember, Ben Jacobs was saying there's a medical booked for Mbeumo. So I thought, yeah, it's done. I'm going on my stream. It's done. Trust me, you can believe in him. He broke the news. People are coming for me now every day. But mate, it's just how it goes, man. And it's just been up and down ever since. And now we saw yesterday and today, that what's he called? Hutchinson. So they're going for a replacement now. So it's just, and then you're seeing reports saying that it's stalling. I don't know, man. It looks crazy, man. It's just all over the place. I can't put my head to it, man.
It's hard to be. I mean, look, let's be completely fucking honest here. It's not been very easy being a United fan for the last few years, but it just feels like these last 7 weeks, this is the hardest it's been. I can't see any positivity from this at all. You know, on Sunday I come out and I said, right, guys, you know, we've got the reports of people wanting to leave the club now. The club are making them train on their own after 5 p.m. That's done. This has to be the way it moves forward now. And then I look at it and I go, even with the positive, you still sit there and you think, yeah, but we're going to be stuck with these players for a long, long time. I mean, Jadon Sancho, prime example. Is it on? Is it off? First, you know, you hear that Conceição's who Juventus want. Then they might go for Sancho. They get Conceição. You think, brilliant, Sancho's in. Then all of a sudden it's Lookman now that they want, and that Sancho's now the alternative to it. I don't know where it goes. I mean, it's mad. It's mad. And here's a question I'll ask both of you, right? Of the 5 players that we have for sale, how many of them players are still going to be with us first game of the season?
I reckon I would say possibly 2. Malacia, for some reason, no one wants him. We haven't heard anything. Like, everyone on my stream always forgets that he even plays for us. Yeah. It's that bad. So I think Malacia is definitely going to be it, and maybe Sancho if he doesn't drop his wage. It's one or the other.
I mean, I looked, and United play Arsenal 4 weeks tomorrow, and that is so scary because 4 weeks tomorrow and the squad is more or less the same. At home, Old Trafford, first game of the season, Arsenal. In terms of who's still going to be there, I think Rashford will still be there. I don't think he'll be involved because I think that one's going to go right down to the wire. I think Sancho will be the one to go, and I think Malacia will also be the one to go. I think the Antony one is difficult just because I think United would prefer to get money for him, and I think the only obvious move there for him will be a loan with an obligation. He's even been linked with, whether it's true or not, with Leverkusen. I think with is either Leipzig or Frankfurt as well, and obviously Betis. So that could happen. But again, if United accept a loan move, the Sancho one is. I think if Sancho does, accept a bit of a lower wage, then I think that one will happen. I think Juventus are the ones who have kind of, showed the interest. But I'm kind of waiting for a Turkish team to come and try and snap these up. I don't know where the Turkish team's getting all the money from, but it seems to be every other week.
I don't want to go there, though, innit?
Yeah, but do they have any choice?
Whatever happened to the days where you could just say to a player, "You're not playing for this club anymore. Here's where you're going. off you go. Good luck in your future endeavours. Now it's just like the players go, I ain't going there. I ain't going there.
Yeah.
I don't like the colour of that kit. I'll go where I want to go. Let me say some hellos to the people in the chat. So we got Chappie, welcome. Hope you're well again, my friend. Andy, hope you're doing well. Ben, part of the OG squad there. Giniesta, welcome. Mustafa, good to see you. 14 for the 400, guys. Make sure you're subscribing and make sure you're liking. We are climbing this channel. This name, by the way, whenever I read it, I can't say it with a straight face. Wahaha. I can't do it. It's just the best name ever. Wahaha. Good evening, mate. Steve, hope you're well. And yeah, as you said, all these transfers. What are the transfers? Moxie Shun, hope you're well, my friend. Mr. Positive is here. That's not happening. It seems to have been completely taken from me. Steve says last in school playground picked for 30 team. Absolutely. That was my MO at school. I was always the last to get picked because of my very, very large belly, unfortunately. Paul, welcome. Manchester United. Get on with it, Manchester United. Stop commenting and get on with the fucking transfers. Hope you're well, my friend. Adam Morris and what we are here, Steve Ben's there saying Brentford have missed the relegation release clause deadline for Hutchinson. 35 million would have done it, but Ipswich saying they wanted more. That is just hilarious, right? Let me come to that because that is just poetic justice, isn't it? They're holding us ransom for this fee, and in the middle of that, they missed that relegation.
So I listened to that just before. It's partly true, but also what had happened is so Brentford triggered the 35 million. For Hutchinson, but they basically they didn't want to pay it all up front, whereas Ipswich wanted it all up front, and Brentford were trying to basically negotiate. Yeah, so that's why it got rejected. But they did trigger it, and then it was like, well, we want all of it now, and they said no. So
it's a weird one because I've seen some people say, "Oh, well, let's just get Hutchinson in. He's half the price," and I'm like, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. I'll ask the question, right, and I'll ask the chat this as well. And by the way, Queen Sophie, welcome as always. Make sure you're listening to Queen Sophie there. Is there a world where Manchester United go, do you know something? Fuck this. We're going elsewhere. Or do you feel like now the arrogance, and I will say arrogance, the arrogance of Ineos here to say, no, we're not overpaying because the way I look at it, they genuinely, if it gets agreed, want to be the ones to come out and say, we held firm. We're not overpaying. Is there a world where we say, no, we're walking away and we go elsewhere? Or are we too deep in this?
Nah, we're not walking away, man. There's no point. It's been too long. And that's what I was saying. I was saying, if we at least put in some, not even a bid, but interest on other players, there's Semenyo, there's Diblin, all them players, you could have just said, Brentford, look, we're going to offer you 60 million plus 5. Take it or leave it. And then they're playing games. We went over there, put interest out, we're in for Semenyo. Even if it gets rejected, whatever. You don't even have to put the bid in, but you just show we got interest. What we're seeing with Jackson right now, there's interest, blah, blah, blah. Maybe so, you could go back there and say, all right, listen, you've seen that we've got other alternatives. You're going to take it or leave it. But I feel like they're literally just sitting there and saying, Brentford, time's going to heal, and then you're going to come to us and just say, you know what, you're going to take the money because they can't start their little rebuild without that money as well. They got a new manager. Do you know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's up in the air, man. It's a waiting game. So I feel like that's how they're playing the game.
How are we the fucking worst at this? How are United the worst at doing this? Like any other club would play the hardball and a week later it'd be done. We go, we're not paying it. And they go, yeah, okay. And we go, oh, right. What about you, Tez? What about you, mate?
To be honest, I kind of agree with Matt. I don't think the club's gonna leave it. I think because the players almost said, if the deal can be done, I'm gonna join. It's made United go, well, it's done. It's just a club playing hardball. But there does come a point where you have to look and see what else is happening in the market, because what might happen is you'll get to the 20th of August, they'll say, going towards the second game of the season. And, it will start, the players' concentration will then fully be on Brentford. And if the deal isn't done there and then, if United then manage to get rid of some of the players they're trying to get rid of, then they won't have the bargaining tool to say, no, we won't meet that valuation, because Brentford will say, you've just made extra money from selling X, Y, and Z. Give us that money. And apparently, whether it's true or not, and Mbeumo said, like, if I don't go, I don't go. Because I think he knows that he'll just leave on a free next summer.
Yeah.
But and the potential for that means then, he might rock up at Arsenal or at Chelsea, or do you know what I mean? For
Don't
free.
say that, man. Don't say that, man.
It's one of them things where he's thinking, okay, if I don't sign for United now, I can sign for one of the other top club or any top club who wants to give me. He might even go to Spurs, like them kind of things. So it's difficult. It's reminding me a little bit more advanced, but when we went in for Frankie and we just kind of dilly-dallied the whole summer, and then last week of transfer window got Casemiro.
Yeah.
And hopefully that doesn't happen. And if there is a pivot, it's someone who's going to provide something close to what Mbeumo will provide, and not someone who's like 5 years older who we can just get because they're available.
Yeah, mate, honestly, we know the news has come out tonight, and I'll tell you my take on this. Another player I think holds all the keys, all the cards for us making money or bringing players in this summer is Garnacho. Now, it's such a fall off from that guy. 12 months ago, we were all sat there celebrating. He just scored in the FA Cup final. Life was good. Life was c'est bon. And we were saying this kid could be anything. Then as the year went on, the attitude started to change. In my eyes, I feel like he genuinely thinks he's the FIFA regen of Ronaldo. I'll stand by that. But with him going now, and he's definitely going to go. The reports come out from Ben Jacobs today that Villa, hold that interest. They want that left-sided attacking player. For me personally, I don't see how Emery wants to work with him, but that's me. Here's where I think the merry-go-round is with United, Chelsea, and Villa. So there's a couple of outcomes I look at here. Garnacho will go to Villa if Chelsea go and get a Morgan Rogers. If Chelsea can't get a Morgan Rogers, then I believe they'll go and get a Garnacho in. Either way, I feel like these three clubs are going to have a transfer merry-go-round with these two players. Now, am I? I might be in the minority. I know he did annoy a lot of United fans. We've put up, as we put our backing behind these youth players that come through. It's what we do. We build these youth players up. They come through and they absolutely tear it up, and they become our heroes. I'll ask the question. Is there a way back for Garnacho for any of you two? Would you be willing to keep him back and give him that fresh chance? Or do you see this being, that's it, it's gone, he's done?
I'll let Mitch go first.
I think there's no way back because, one, Amrin's already shown what he's on with how he dealt with Rashford. How he dealt with Rashford that season. Even I was feeling a bit sorry. I'm seeing him on the bench for Anfield. And that's only because we couldn't make the numbers, and he didn't even warm up. So everyone already knows Amrin's too stern. It's not going to happen. So there's that, and then there's Garnacho. Like you said, his ego. He thinks he's Ronaldo already. If he listened, if even just Dorgu, like when Dorgu came, you saw how long it took just to pass to him. Like he already thinks he's that guy. So I don't think it's going to work, man. I think they can all see that he doesn't really fit the system as well. He's more of like a winger. He wants more inside tens. So I think Ruben didn't want him kind of from the start, but he said I can work with him until the end of the season. He's our only outlet. No one's really got speed apart from him. So I'll just play him. And then even when it got to the final, I think he just gave up with him. Like, I can't even be bothered. But I can't see a way back. I'll be real.
Yeah, I can't see a way back either. But I also think it's weird. I can understand from Garnacho's perspective and point of view because he broke into United, 17, 18? Well, the first season, he was off the bench a lot and he was coming off the bench and, he scored that winner at Fulham and he played a little bit against Barcelona when we were in the Europa League and stuff like that. And then he's quickly got fast-tracked to being automatic starter, played 30-plus games in a row. So I can see it from his point of view that he's probably thinking, well, this club has relied on me for this much in this short period of time. Of course, I'm now part of, the first team and I am the man in a sense. So I get it from that perspective, but he also needs to understand, which he probably doesn't see, that United's quality level is lower than it has been of previous years. Because if we had the attackers that we had, even just in 2020, 2021, like Cavani and Martial, Rashford, Bruno, Pogba, that team that we had, Garnacho wouldn't even be anywhere near starting the team.
Yeah, facts.
And I think it's his understanding of the situation that is probably being misjudged. And personally, I almost feel like if he doesn't go, he'll actually work his way back into the team, because we will have a situation where, again, what Metro's saying, we don't have enough outlets, and especially if Rashford's not staying, there'll be that one game where he's like, oh, I might have to use Garnacho. And knowing him, his best role for us has been against tired defenses off the bench, where he can get our teams, and he's a lot different to when he starts the game. And I think if he carried on that kind of trajectory, I think everyone would have accepted him a bit more. But when he does play, he is too greedy, and he, some of the time he only passes the ball because he has to.
Yeah.
Guys taking 17 shots a game, and it's like if he passed it 3 times, we might have scored a couple of goals. So
worst thing that happened was him scoring that scissor kick against that overhead kick against Everton. Second he scored that, I was out of my chair. I was like, yes, and then I thought, this guy's going to try this all the time now.
Yeah.
This guy's makes it FIFA, man. But
would you take Garnacho? Would you keep Garnacho down?
I think like you guys, the damage is done. Do you know something? There was a bit of me in the summer, and I was like, right, okay, let's let the dust settle. We're not buying anyone. We're struggling to bring people in. Out of the 5 of them, he's the one. He's young. There's a resale opportunity there. If we keep him for a couple more seasons, we could potentially still make money. And then he turned up in the Villa shirt with Rashford on the back. And I thought, what are you doing? Why? And that to me as well, that said to me everything about the guy. He just genuinely is checked out. He's done. He doesn't want it. So it's a shame. I mean, I love this take here. Mason Mount should be sold to Villa. We're stuck with Mount for a while yet, guys. I tell you, Mason Mount ain't going anywhere in my eyes. And there's a Villa fan saying, why would we want Mount? So bored of the Isak conversation and nothing's. I tell you something, right? For Newcastle fans who are bored of that, try being us. Try being us. Queen Sophie. I tell you what, Newcastle have got it bad, because you've got Liverpool coming in and saying we want Isak. Well, we don't want to sell him. Fine, we'll take Ekitike. That's what a big club does with transfers. Do you remember when we used to do that? Yeah. We used to do stuff like that. And now we're sort of sat at the edge of the fucking aisle with our hands there saying, we'll take anything. We'll take a Dominic Calvert-Lewin. We'll take anything. It's horrendous, man. It's around. Let me check these comments. Hoyland, Garnacho, Rashford should all be sold to Arsenal. I tell you what, if there's any manager in the Premier League that would buy them, it would probably be Arteta. Honestly, I could just see that now. And yes, guys, make sure you're hitting the subscribe button. We've 13 more for 400. This is going to be the night we sort that. Andy says, if we don't get Bryan, push Bruno and Cunha and Mainoo, push Bruno with Cunha and Mainoo, Ugarte and Casemiro. There's a lot of people saying about, if we don't get a striker, chucking Cunha up top. Now, lads, I mean, obviously I won't dwell on it too much with you because I want to get on to Nicholas Jackson in a sec. Horrifically, have to do it. But I feel like if we do that with Cunha, we ruin him before he's even started for the club. He isn't a striker in my eyes. He is that creative cam for me. What are you guys saying?
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I think Cunha's a 10. He showed that he's a good 10. That's his position. So bring him. What he's been thriving him, let him go off that. All of this trying to experiment, because he can play striker, of course, but that's not where he thrives. We need players. You're spending 62 million on him to get him for where he thrives. Don't be getting him and trying to experiment. We can't be doing that right now. So let's go and get a number 9 if we get the sales and whatnot, and get someone that plays in that position. But I don't think we should be testing him out, putting him up. People keep saying this about Xerxes as well. I think Xerxes, Mbeumo and Cunha could work, but let's not forget, Xerxes don't really score goals. You understand? It could change, of course, but let's not get giddy and say, forget a striker, let's just, nah. I think we need to go and get someone for each position. And if things start going left and Mbeumo goes AFCON and Ahmad, etc., then we can start changing things up a little bit. But for now, let's just get everyone in their positions, man. This is what's going on.
Facts. Tez, what about you, mate?
I agree. I also kind of partially think the Cunha signing was because the club thought Bruno might also leave. And I think they were trying to be clever and say, okay, if he doesn't leave, fantastic. But if he does leave, we can allow that maverick kind of player who plays off the front and drifts left and right to already be at the club to take over. In terms of positionally, it's a funny one because I actually don't mind the idea of Cunha playing central, but this is the big but. The two players who I'd want to play either side of him are going to be leaving. Being Garnacho and Rashford, because Cunha's the type who, if you're going to play him central, you want runners off him. You want players who are going to stretch so he can have space to take his shots, or for him to drop off the centre-backs to be in between the lines. And the players who would thrive off that are Rashford and Garnacho. Ahmad does it a little bit, but he's a bit more ball to feet, and he'll dribble from out to in, and he will make off the ball runs, but in a slightly different way. So yeah, I do agree with both of you. I will probably keep Cunha to play from the left 10, right 10, wherever. The one thing I don't think would work, which it can work against certain teams, but the idea of Cunha and Bruno being the 2 10s, I think unless we have a striker who's going to stretch, it becomes a bit in front of the defence a bit too much.
I agree with what you're saying there, because I've said this. I mean, people are saying Bruno going back into that midfield too, it could hurt us, and I agree. But I see Bruno, if he is going to be playing there, he will be that deep lying playmaker, pulling the strings, you know. And I wonder if we'll see a different type of Bruno now that we potentially, when we get Bryan and then obviously Cunha, we have two people in front of him that are taking on that mantle of being the creativity for us. You know, people hate on him, but he's had to do this at times all on his own for Manchester United. I'm looking forward to this guy getting some help this season. What about you, Match?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm with you. I want to see how Bruno's going to thrive. I'm a bit wary with who's going to be able to thrive next to him in that CM though, because Ugarte, it even seems like Amrin wasn't really favouring him to the end. He didn't play him for the last 2 games, the final Aston Villa game. So it's like, who's going to be next to him? And remember, Bruno's a headless chicken sometimes, where he will just run to the box. He'll be at both boxes at the same time, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So he's everywhere. So we need someone to be a bit more disciplined. So it's going to be interesting to see how it goes this season. But I can't see both of them. I can't see him playing in the 10 with Cunha. That's too slow. They're both trying to make something happen. Like, nah. Obviously, Cunha's more of a ball carrier, but yeah, we definitely need someone else in that right 10 that can make something happen. That's more of a runner. And then, yeah, man, I'm cool with Bruno being in the CM though, because he done a bit of it last season and he was all right. He kind of bailed us out a lot of times.
I mean, again, you know, it's all it shoulda, woulda, couldas. You know, we've come off the back of a season. We were absolutely. It was so simple to play through us. So he was always going to be a casualty of that formation. Moxie makes a good point here about Garnacho, and I wonder if this does unsettle clubs going for him. His ego and attitude have gone way beyond his ability. Will clubs be looking at that and having doubts about the lad now? Now, I'm interested to hear what you guys want to say about that. Big up to Everett. It's me, Everest, as well. Good to see you. Do you look at this and see his attitude and ego as a bit of a turn off for other clubs who come to him?
Potentially, it's difficult because with Garnacho, he started at the top. So, like, straight from Atletico Madrid as a youngster into United, skipped the level quickly, straight into the first team. So he's never. I always try and think of it from the player's point of view, how they see it. He's never really had that development where he's had to be second fiddle as much.
Yeah.
So I can understand from his point of view where he's like, I'm at one of the biggest clubs in the world and I play. So I'm making all my mistakes and everything in real time. There's not someone in front of me where I'm like modeling off. They're modeling their behavior and stuff to me. But I think it's just more of the price point. I think it's because clubs know United want to get rid of him, and United want a fee that's going to match what the other young wingers have been going for. You know, Gittins and Madueke, etc. United want him between that 50 to 65-ish million, and that is fine. But when you're the selling club and everyone knows you want to get rid of the player, then teams are going to just wait until later on in the window and try and probably lowball you a bit. That's the difference. Like, Gittins and Madueke and Elanga and whoever else has gone for around 50-ish million. None of those players were really going if a club didn't come in for them. Whereas United's the one where they've kind of pushed him out and said, you have to go. So it's a difficult one. I think there'll be more interest if he's still there with the last 2 weeks of the window.
So with the finances then, guys, let's look at this as, let's pray to God in 4 weeks we're not sat here going, could Bryan be done tomorrow? Because that I don't, I wear this hat to cover the greys. They're coming thick and fast. With the finances where we are, and we talk about worrying about where the transfers, the outgoings are. Realistically, where do you see us this season? And I'll ask the chat that as well, because people ask me all the time, and my goal, I stand by it, and I say we absolutely just have to get Europe. I don't care if it's via a cup win or if we finish 9th, and because of the rankings and the places coming in, we get it that way. I don't care, but we have to finish in Europe. Are we in danger of forgoing that?
It's kind of a weird one, Like I say, I can't really give like predictions until the window shuts, because right this second we've literally got the same squad, bar Garnacho and just Cunha. So we've just got Cunha in and Garnacho. So it's like some people are looking at it, it's Amrin's first season, whatnot, and he has to go, and he's got the pre-season to implement his style. But then some people are saying he's at a left back and Cunha. So it's weird. Like, is that enough to bridge the gap from 15th, Cunha on a left back? Like, it's a bit of a weird one. So I can't really say until that window shuts open and I see what team we've actually got. Because remember, we could be sitting there next week and we've sold Garnacho and we've got 120 million to spend or something. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, you just don't know what's going to happen. And then they got no excuse after that. Yeah, so I don't know. I couldn't tell you, but from looking at the team, nothing has really changed. They've just all come back a bit slimmer. Obviously, they've got pre-season under their belt now, and we've got Cunha. So it's like 1 for 1. You can't really judge it off that, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I hear you.
So I don't know.
Tez?
Similar kind of thoughts. It's difficult to say because, last season, this group of players had 3 managers. They had Ten Hag, they had Van Nistelrooy, they had Amorim. And that's kind of mixed messages and mixed direction. Although everyone kind of underperformed and massively underperformed in the league, including the manager, who I think he probably, even though he hasn't had the new players in, he has to show that he's adaptable. Because I do think some of it stops with him being a little bit too stubborn to get the players that he has to adapt to his way. Yeah. And I think there's only so much you can do to put in the players in the way you want them to play versus what can these players actually do. And yes, I know it's only Cunha, but I think for me personally, adding Cunha in for Garnacho brings us up a little bit of a level.
I agree.
And then if you think, the manager's starting with hopefully, a Shaw fit. I know we can't really rely on these players, but a fit Luke Shaw, a fit Mason Mount, a fit De Ligt, because all these players, Mainoo, Ahmad, all these players during the season were there when he came in, and then quite soon afterwards we didn't see those group of players for a long time. So if you can keep those players fit, keep Bruno fit, and maybe you're counting on Xerxes' second season. He might not score, but in the small cameos, he did show a bit. So maybe if he can kind of help, it is difficult. For me personally, I think the remit for him should be, you have to finish in the top 8. Yeah. I think it was so bad last season that minimum at the very lowest is 8th place. And that, I know that sounds ridiculous for United, but when you compare it to the quality that's in the league, like I think I said this to someone else the other day. I was like, when you actually look at United, before we signed Cunha, when you look at United's attack, if you compared it to every other attack in the league, we probably have an attack that is around 15th place.
Yeah, I agree.
And they, no. And I was like, no, we can go player for player, team for team. And if I offered most teams Højlund just not Højlund in his worst iteration, but just Højlund in general, there's probably only 7-8 teams who go yes. And the only key player from attack that United really had was Ahmad. If I'm not counting Bruno as an attacker, is Ahmad, because Rashford doesn't play for us, and then the others are not there. So I think I get the kind of the desperation of, at least if we don't do anything, give him a brand new attack, because there's so many games that we had last season where you think if they could finish, the whole ethos of the game changes, because you don't have to play well, but if you score one, the other team's now on the back foot a bit. And then it gives you something to hold on to. And then it just builds confidence, because you know that we don't have to play well, but we've got them 3 guys that might score. At the moment, we've got 1.5 players who will score. And that depends on whether they're fit enough or not. So I would say for him personally, Amarin, if I was the board, I'd say you have to be 7th, because that 8th might not get you Europe, but 7th is probably the cut-off. And that's difficult, but with Man United, we shouldn't even be thinking of 7th.
Oh,
it should be top 3, but the situation we're in, it would be 7th.
You've mentioned something there, and I want to get your thoughts on this match as well, and I want to get the chat on this. So I had this conversation a couple of weeks ago with the chat. We've never seen Mason Mount match fit. We've seen Mason Mount fit. He's come back from injury, but we've never seen this guy go on a 10-game run of being match fit, injury-free, and actually able to come in and do something in the team. Is there a world where this season we get a match fit Mason Mount and he comes in and absolutely does the business for us? Is there a world with that? I'll start with you, Mitch.
I think it has to be this season. It's do or die for him now, because he's had what's he been in for? 2 seasons now?
Yeah.
2 years.
Yeah, so 2 seasons we've kind of felt sorry for him. Like I don't feel like it's, some people will say get rid of him right now. I know he's not gonna go, Amran likes him, but I feel like this season is his last season to really hopefully can get away with the injuries, and he has to make an impact. Obviously, if we get Mbeumo, he ain't gonna be starting. We've got 1 game a week. But remember, like I said, December, AFCON comes in. When you got Mbeumo gone for a month, Ahmad's gone for a month, you need to step in now and show what you're worth. Or even if you're coming off the bench on the 70th minute, it's got to be like a athletic club. Remember, when he came off and scored the 2 goals, it needs to be them type of performances where you're just not a passenger, like the Europa Cup final. It needs to be proper. We're seeing Mason Mount, he's coming off the bench, he's making a difference, etc. If that's not happening this season, I think he'll be gone by the end of the season, because it's been too inconsistent. 65 million, whatever it was. We can't, it's only literally memories of what that athletic club game. I can't remember nothing else. It's crazy.
That is all of Mason Mount's career for Manchester United in 30 seconds. Yeah, what about you, Tez?
I mean, I was a Mason Mount fan prior to United, but this was maybe not in his last season at Chelsea, prior to that. But I was always one of them people who thought Mason Mount looks good in specific systems. And I think United have got very lucky that they've got a manager who plays with 2 10s. Because when United signed him, I was like, where's he supposed to play? The lunacy of Ten Hag thinking you can play Mount and Bruno with Casemiro on an island by himself. Like, he should have just been sacked there and then when he came up to the board with that idea. But we didn't have football people in the boardroom at them times, so it was approved. And then the issue is, for me, it's still outstanding that I don't think you can play the best football that United could play with both Mount and Bruno starting at the same time. I don't know how it works unless you play like a diamond where there's 4 midfielders, because I just think even when Bruno plays centre mid and he pushes up, he goes in spaces where Mount wants to go. When Mount plays, and I actually think the manager will use Mount in midfield as well, because he did try and do that a little bit, which I think is a disaster. Mount really is like, we've just replaced Donny van de Beek with Mount. They're a similar kind of player. They're not really a 10. They're not really an 8. They play off the front. They get goals. They look good. when they're really good, but most of the time you don't notice them because they need the system to give them a role. A lot of how United play, even if we are trying to be a bit more system focused, the best times United have played under any manager is when we have our attackers allowed to do what they do best.
Freestyle, just
freestyle. Yeah, like you can set them up to the final third, but you just get good players in the final third. You see it with Ahmad last season. Ahmad doesn't need all this intricacy and stuff. Getting the ball in and around. Bruno's the same. Cavani, Pogba, Rash, whoever it is. But because we made that horrific signing Højlund, he's a player who needs so much service. It's changed how we play. And then Xerxes, who I don't mind, but I like my strikers who can shoot, and he can't shoot. So that's a massive issue. So when they play, it's just like there's so many things missing. They do lots of good things, but it's like the clinical final edge. It's just not there. So for me, Mount, I think, yeah, he'll be there. He'll play some games, but I don't think he'll have the opportunity to play 10 games in a row, and that's the issue.
Honestly, I remember when we signed Cavani, right, and I was fuming because I thought, this guy's 32. You know, what are we doing? And he is probably the last decent, apart from Ronaldo, the last decent striker that we've signed. Honestly, we are so starved of goal scorers in this club. It's absolutely horrendous. We'll come on to him, and don't worry, chat. I've got your questions, and I will be popping them in there. And make sure you are subscribing, guys. It's been a good chat tonight. Keep them coming and keep them likes on the videos. Nicholas Jackson, guys. Say it isn't so. Nicholas Jackson. This seems to be coming more and more and more. What started off as, I thought, just a sick joke on Saturday night, it just seems to be coming closer and closer now. Okay, I'll ask the question. Metch, are you taking him? If you are, tell me why. If not, I think we know.
I wouldn't want to take him, no way. But I would rather him over Højlund. That's just letting me know. Over Højlund, 100%. But I wouldn't take him. He's a walk-in. I said this on your show the other day. Remember, I came in the comments and I said, this geezer, the referee's already got his name in the book before the game starts. He's always just doing something lunatic. He loses his head a lot. He misses a lot of chances. Why they even will call him for a striker when he's playing. You got to look at clubs. All the clubs that's got a good striker, they don't sit there and ask for strikers. Arsenal's been raving for a striker. Havertz ain't doing the job. You know what I'm saying? Newcastle fans are never going to ask for a striker. You're not going to hear that from them. It's from the time you got a club asking for a striker, you just know he's a bit dodgy. They've gone out there and bought the lad, João Pedro. Now he's third choice. We can't keep doing this, man. We're going for players, third choice. We can't keep doing it, especially Chelsea as well. We just got to leave them alone. They gave us Mount. They already bumped us. We'll let that one go. You know what I'm saying? But we leave them alone now. Let's go for Watkins or something, or Mateta. That's what I'm looking at. I'm being realistic now with all we got left. I'd rather one of them two. But Jackson, nah, mate. They've had big games, Champions League qualifiers, and he's losing his head over nothing. Club World Cup, we saw it over there as well. So you can't trust him.
Thanks. Tez?
So I'm going to be controversial.
This is why I asked you on, my guy. This is why I asked you on. I knew this was coming. Let's do this.
I actually think Jackson's a good player. And I think he's misunderstood. I think he's the type of player to...
Tez, look at the screen.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, maybe they don't want him. But I think... So what I'm going to say is, basically, with Jackson, he's the type of player that he gets overplayed, and he gets overplayed the way he runs himself into these situations where he's okay. You can't really excuse him fighting and things like that, but I think when he goes on barren runs of not scoring and stuff, that's when the manager should be like, right, you've done your bit for the 6-8 games. We're going to bring in this player, and I don't think he's had that luxury at Chelsea. When Chelsea were good last season, him and Palmer were scoring and they were flying. As soon as them two stopped, they just fell off. So he does have an impact. I think the reason why I would take him, and it's more so similar to what Met said, over Højlund, is because of what Amram wants from a striker. I think he wants someone who is going to work hard, he's going to fight, he's going to run the channels, he's going to spin in behind. And in my mind, again, a bit contradictory to what I said before, but the striker that, if we sign him in Mbeumo, the striker that we get doesn't necessarily have to be a gunman who scores 20, 25 goals. It'd be great if he could, but I think if you've got Cunha and Mbeumo and Bruno and then a striker, the striker will have to do a little bit of everything to allow those other players to flourish. And I think that's maybe what the thinking is. My only issue is the money. You can't be going and paying 60 million for a Jackson. Like, that is ridiculous. You can't be doing that.
It's the Garnacho thing, isn't it, Tez? That's what worries me. Is it just going to be a fucking swap? Is it going to end up something like, because we can't go out there and spend the money, that we go, and I'm not saying we can't do straight swap. I know it has to be sorted, but that's my worry is, like, we fiddle the system to get Jackson for Garnacho, and it's kind of like, if we get the money for Garnacho, are we able to go out there and get someone better as opposed to just being tied to that deal? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, potentially. But I think, so if I was going to do the swap thing, and I don't know whether it's actually been linked or I've just seen some fans say, we should go to Villa and we should try and get one of Villa's players. Like, either Watkins maybe to try and, soften the blow, trying to pay that much for a 29-year-old, or let's kind of be a bit audacious and if say like we need a midfielder. We were linked to with Onana or Kamara. Someone put in the chat before. Why don't we do a Garnacho for that? Because I would rather get a top solid midfielder and have Xerxes, Cunha, and Mbeumo, and Bruno and Ahmad Mount as their attacking options, knowing that we've got someone in midfield. And then we can rotate Mainoo, Casemiro, and Ugarte alongside them. So let's just say we did Onana in, Garnacho out. I feel more comfortable with saying like Onana and Mainoo's our midfield. And then in some games, you've got Bruno, Cunha, and Ahmad as the three. I think I feel more comfortable than doing a Jackson and still having goals.
We haven't spoke about Mainoo at all, have we? And it's a bizarre one because, as Match said before, they're looking leaner, they're looking good, and he does look a new lad, doesn't he? I mean, last season he struggled with his injuries, and look, I was there for his day. Well, honestly, right, I think you definitely would have been there, Match. Maybe you as well, Tez. When he come on against Villa in the Carabao Cup 17, and I watched this guy come on, and I looked and I went, this kid has got composure. He rides a tackle. Yeah. I love him. My worry has been, does he fit in an Amorim system? Now, obviously, I go back to what you said, Tez. A good manager makes a good player fit in a system. So are we forgetting about Mainoo too much? And are we concerned that Mainoo actually ends up being a player that becomes a bit part of this squad?
I think that he could. And what the situation is like, because it was a new system for everyone. Everyone was kind of struggling. Let's be real. The only person that kind of strived, would you say, is Ahmad and Bruno. That's the only two that looked comfortable in the system, really. I would say Mainoo, maybe this is the season where we're talking about who's going to be this guy next to Bruno. It could be Mainoo, for all we know. Yeah. Do you understand? Like, and this new system, it's like, when you look at it, it's just like Xerxes. Xerxes came, he had the rough 4 or 5 months. He couldn't handle it. It was just, he's in a new beginning, he's in a new country. And then when he got injured in St. James Park, we was like, oh my God, we're going to miss him for the final. It kind of changed type of thing. So I don't know, man. I reckon Mainoo might have his time this year. But like I said, I've seen reports that he's training good, he's impressing. Who knows? He might have had to drop the weight, the injury problems. It could be, man. I reckon he's better as a 10. Don't get it twisted, but I don't know, man. I think they could play him in CM.
What we got, Tez? Because this is something Mustafa's asked. He said, where does he fit in this system? In the deeper role or further up?
You know what's crazy about Mainoo? If he didn't play for Manchester United and he played for one of our rivals, every single United fan will be saying, we lack a Mainoo in midfield. Every single fan. It's only because Amorim's come in and play in this formation that I think doesn't get the best out of the players that we have, is why we look at him differently. Because if I wanted to give a comparison, I'm not saying the same quality, but if Mainoo was at Barcelona, they wouldn't be putting Mainoo as a 10 or off the front and stuff. They play him in midfield like they have done with Gavi and Pedri and Bernal and all these young players. They'll play him in midfield and he'll learn his way as a midfielder. I think what the issue is with someone like Mainoo is because he's not super athletic in terms of running back and forth. And the way we've had midfields under Ten Hag and now Amarin, they've asked a lot from our midfielders. He wants super athletes. Both of them wanted super athletes in the midfield. And the one time Mainoo actually did look good is before he got injured in the beginning of the season. I thought he looked a bit more defensive, robust, even though someone said he hasn't shown defensive capabilities, Steve, which I disagree with. In the first 6-7 games of the season under Ten Hag, when we were playing a bit like of a 4-2-2 kind of Bruno Mount and then Ahmad and whoever and Xerxes, he looked like he was getting to grips with things. And I think that when players lose confidence when they're young, it then will make everything else worse. So I think for me, if we had someone more robust next to Mainoo and you allowed Mainoo to be a bit more box to box, as we've seen him score key goals, then I think he'll be fine. And the thing with Mainoo and what United don't do well, we're meant to rotate our youngsters. We're not meant to play them till they're broken or then they miss 10 games and then the fans are on the back and stuff. It's supposed to be you play Mainoo for 5 games, you take him out for 5 games, just like Fergie used to do. You see certain players for the first half of the season and then you wouldn't really see them only specifically, and I think we've lost that. I think you play Mainoo in midfield because we cry out for someone who can pick the ball off the back line. That. Someone who can play through the line, someone who can dribble from deep. You tell him do those things, and then we're going to get someone who can close the space and tackle. And things change a little bit. So I think it's a bit on the manager. Because if Mainoo was to leave, we'd have to spend 100 million to try and replace someone like that.
Agree. And I think if he goes to another club as well, I think he, like you say, a different formation. I think he'd go and you'd see the real Mainoo come through. The Mainoo that we watched, his breakout season when we won the FA Cup. You looked at him and you thought, this guy has got so much talent. I remember people doing exactly what they did with Phil Jones, people like that. Future Man United captain. This kid's got it all. He's got the world at his feet. Went to the Euros, obviously had a decent tournament, and then just had the biggest fall off. And you talk about development, playing under 3 different managers at that age. It's going to stunt your growth because you put your faith as a youth player into your manager. They are there to mold you into the player that you are going to be for your club. And then he finds himself speaking to 3 different blokes. He goes from Ten Hag, who obviously had a lot of faith. Then we had Van Nistelrooy come in for a few games. And then, of course, you got Amarim, who changes the whole system. So, before we wrap up, there is a couple of things. Saturday for me is going to be so important. I'm so intrigued to see how we set up. I mean, look, we know we haven't got the players in that we want, and we understand that, and it hurts, and we're pissed off. We can say that 'cause it's after 9 o'clock. We're allowed to say that. But what I'm intrigued to see is there going to be a different passage of play? Now, I don't expect us to come out the blocks and absolutely tear teams to pieces, but if we can see that fluidity in the formation that Amarim has, that we've all begged, we've wanted to see this Amarim formation that he had at Sporting, the guy that took down Man City in the Champions League. We want to see that. These next 4 or 5 games in pre-season, we have to see something different. I'm Amarim in. I'll stick by him. But he's got to show us something different. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
100%, man. I'm with it, man. I'm excited to see what. Obviously, I'm taking it like it's the tour's more serious. This is more of a little friendly. I'm hearing Vitek's gonna start and all that. So he might, when they do the thing where they play 11 players first and then 11 players second half. So it might not be his main 11 or anything like that. It could be kids mixed in. So I'm not sure. But the tour, 100%. I'm staying up. I want to watch it. See how the system. Remember, he's had time now to implement his style. So let's see what these players are doing with it. So yeah, man, I'm excited to see what's going on, man.
Yeah, I think. Do you know what? I think the big difference of United going into this preseason is that we all know what players he doesn't want.
Yeah,
and I don't think unless someone came in with a ridiculous bid for maybe Højlund or something, I don't think anyone else is going to leave outside that group.
I agree.
So he's already in the mindset of like, these are the players I'm going to... There might be a few like a Collier or Amas might go on loan or something. But or Diego Leon. But apart from that, I think he's very much probably knows that these are the players that I need to play, plus the additions that come in. So what I would like to see from Amarin, you saying like style of playing, fluidity and stuff. The one thing that I don't get is it doesn't always have to be 3-4-3. Like that can be your preferred way, but depending on who you're playing, like if you want to play 3 at the back, why don't we play 3-5-2 sometimes? I feel like if you want to play Mainoo and Bruno or Mount and Bruno at the same time, you play 3-5-2 because you got an extra centre back, so it gives you that little bit of luxury. And then the idea of Cunha plays a bit more central makes a bit more sense because he can go anywhere. And then Xerxes got someone, or Højlund's got someone closer to him. So I don't know why we don't experiment with just that little change. Because I think when we play with the 2 10s, we haven't really had anyone who is a 10 bar Bruno. And Bruno now plays in midfield. So that's where we lack the fluidity because those players don't know how to do that. Garnacho or Rashford or whoever want to go wide and then come in. And it just looks a bit like everybody's wide, one striker's in the middle, and then just lots of midfield. And then there's no one in between the lines. So hopefully, without Mainoo being a 10, that is experimented with. And I think we've all seen Højlund can't play up front on his own, so he needs a partner. Xerxes can play up front on his own, but he needs runners. And then we've also identified that we want Cunha to play off someone. So to me, it's like, well, why don't you play Cunha off a striker, Bruno with Mainoo and someone else, and play Ahmad and someone else in the wings, and then see how that works. And if it doesn't work, and trial and error, because he's fighting for his life, really. Like, he may not think he is, but Man United's first 10 fixtures, like, we could easily lose 7, and that's not even an exaggeration. And if you lose 7 of the first 10, I think he has to be sacked.
It'd be tough to come back from, wouldn't it? I mean, I've been saying this, but then it goes back to, the board not backing him to bring in the players that he wants for this system. He's still putting square pegs in round holes in some aspects of that. Let's go through some of these questions we've got here. So Ben says, with Mainoo being so relaxed on the ball and his finishing is good, what are your thoughts of him playing up top? Now, before you guys come in, we tried this. Who was it against? We tried it against. Was it?
We did it in Europe.
Crystal Palace.
Palace as well.
Palace.
He finished the game against Lyon.
Yeah.
I was like, with Harry Maguire up front, which is ridiculous. But
that's my striker, mate. That's my striker. That's my striker.
I'd rather play Maguire up front. He could change his career. Last 10 minutes off the bench, bring on Maguire.
Guys, I'm telling you, last season, I'm shameless enough to admit that I got to like the last 4 games and I was like, just fucking put Maguire up there. He's got more XG than fucking Højlund. It has for the last 10 games. Put him up there, man. What about you, Mitch?
Yeah, like I said, I was there that game at Palace and he hit the post. So that's the only game I remember actually seeing him up there, but he kind of struggled, didn't it? If you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't, but like I said, like you're saying, anything but Højlund, you've kind of got a different dynamic. You know what I'm saying? Harry Maguire understood that one day. He could put the ball over, he can header it, he's good. So it's a mad one, man. But he's good with the ball. That's why I would prefer him. I saw him at the 10. I can't remember who he played. I think it was one of them Europa teams. And he had a proper good game. Do you remember that one there?
Scored and assisted.
Yeah, the goal. Yeah, that game. And then I was like, oh, maybe he can play there. But then the next game, it was that game before. And then we played him up front for Palace. And I was like, Amrin's gone mad here. You're getting too excited with him. Yeah. You know what I mean? But he's good with the ball and that. But I reckon he can play. It's one of them positions it's going to be for him. If he's going to make it in the system, it'll be the 10 or a bit back as an 8 or something. I can't see it happening where he's up front or not. And that's not going to happen, man.
The only issue with thinking of Mainoo as a 10, if Amarin has that mindset that he's going to be one of the 10s, we're not going to see much of him. Because if you go and sign Mbeumo, you've got Cunha.
Yeah, that's true.
If they don't play, he's probably going to think Bruno and Ahmad are the next 2 10s. Then you're thinking Mainoo. So then you're just wasting him away. That's why I think he needs to just be rotated as the third centre mid. So if Bruno doesn't play, Mainoo plays. If Ugarte doesn't play, Mainoo plays. If Casemiro doesn't play, Mainoo plays. That's where I think he'll get his game time. And I think it's fine to rotate him in and out. I actually think in the big games, that's when you do need Mainoo, because you need someone who's calm. You know, the bigger teams are going to allow you to have more time on the ball.
So calm finishing, isn't he?
Exactly.
You know, the finish against Liverpool when he just spins and puts it in top in. The finish against Lyon, that is a bloke with a calm head on his shoulders when it comes to finishing. He's got so much potential, so much potential. What else have we got here? So Chappie said, in fact, we'll come to that one at the end, Chappie. Where are we? Sophie says, where do you honestly think United will finish next season? I know we were talking about Europe, but I want a position off you guys. I think that's what they're saying.
Eighth.
You going eighth? You sticking with eighth?
Based on everything now, eighth.
If we're going up right this second, mate, I couldn't tell you, man. I gotta say 10th.
10th, yeah.
For now,
The only reason I said eighth is because there's 7 teams in Europe, and
fair.
Brighton, Villa. I don't even think Villa have signed anyone, but Brighton, Villa, and maybe not Newcastle this much but last time they were in Europe, their squads suffered a bit. So I think because of the drop-off of them playing and they're not used to it, United once a week will scam our way.
Is Brighton in Europe? They're not in Europe, are they?
Brian got in, didn't they?
Yeah, Brian, I'm sure.
Yeah, Brian.
They're not in it.
Are they not? Are they not the 7th team because of conference? Because Chelsea won the conference, then Chelsea in the Europa. Did it not drop?
No, because it was Nottingham Forest. They were 7th.
Hang on.
Yeah, but Nottingham Forest have just took over from Crystal Palace now.
Yeah.
So Nottingham Forest are in.
Or maybe it's Palace I'm thinking of. Maybe
It's
Yeah.
Brighton ain't in Europe.
Oh, okay. Palace.
That's why I'm saying 10th. Trust me.
Look at us sat here arguing about fucking Brighton in fucking Europe and 10th,
Crazy,
man.
It's crazy.
Oh, what a time to be a United fan. A lot of people are saying 8th, 10th. Between 7th and 9th, if we add Bryan and Martinez. Moxie says, I think Mainoo has been so what's that? Has to be in a backup to Bruno. Sorry, to use these 10s. I agree with that. Emmy passed it. People saying Emmy passed it. I mean, you guys not been watching who we've got in between our nets. Okay. So the next one we've got then is from Mustafa again. He says, What's all of your 3 centre-backs at the back going into next season? This one I think is going to be different because I see you on Twitter, Tez. I see your comments on Twitter. So Tez, I'll go with you first. Your 3 centre-backs for United starting.
As long as Maguire ain't starting, that's number one. Not because I'm a massive Maguire hater, but I think because United have been so bad, people are clamouring for him to be a starter. Whereas 2 seasons ago they weren't, and that was because he's not up to the level. I still think when he plays, he's very calamitous. He doesn't calm things down. He's quick to rush, and as years are going on, I just think he's getting slower. And I think he's good for certain games when if we're gonna play 5 at the back and be deep block and defend the box, fine. But in most games, you're seeing it higher line, Maguire, now and again. So my starting 3. Even though I don't really rate this player that much, I think De Ligt has to be the centre back. I think he just replaces what you have with Maguire with the aerial ability, and he's not the best on the ball, but I think he just knows how to be a centre back. And then the other 2 have to be Yoro and Martinez. I think that's the 3. Obviously, Martinez might not be fit. If he's not, then I'm putting Yoro to the left side, and then I'm probably gonna. He hasn't been tried here enough for me, but I think Dalot. Isn't good in the final third, but I think he can do everything in terms of build up. He can cover as a right back. He can dribble. He's quick enough. He's tall enough. He does sleep at the back post a little bit, but so do all our defenders, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, so starting would be Yoro, De Ligt, and Martinez, and I think you get the most out of being able to play, because I think our 3 at the back have to be able to play, and then Yoro can play. He can dribble, and Martinez. He was our playmaker before he got injured. So I think that if not, I'm happy to go with Aiden Heaven. I think
People are saying heaven in the chat. To be fair, people are going heaven.
It's just I don't trust De Ligt. Someone said De Ligt, you're heaven. I don't trust De Ligt to lead them to. That's why I've gone with Martinez as well. Otherwise, if De Ligt, because De Ligt has this thing where he'll be 7 out of 10, and all of a sudden he slide tackles and he handballs it, or he gives away a penalty, and you're like, where did that come from? So I can't trust De Ligt. But if everyone's fit, first game of the season, De Ligt, Lisandro, and Euro.
Oof. Let's go, match. Let's go, match.
See, with me, I don't really mind De Ligt or Maguire, but like he just said, De Ligt, he's just got this thing where he will just do something out of the blue, and it just anything. Like look at Gakpo, like that day there, the Gakpo goal, he slid and then he put his hand up. Like he always just does it, and he was close as well. I was at that game against Leicester when they took the shot. Remember when they took the shot and he done the block? He had his hand in the air as well, but he blocked it good, which was cool. But I don't mind Maguire. I'll be real. I like Maguire because and this is what I'm saying. I feel like we're at such a shit place that we need anywhere we can get goals from, and he gives us that aerial threat. Do you know what I mean? Like De Ligt can score headers, but he doesn't really as much as Maguire.
He looked a lot more attacking. Like, to be fair, Maguire last season with corners and dead ball, you looked at put it on his fucking head.
Exactly. This is what I'm saying, and you got to look at us. We was having games where it's like you said, we needed a goal, and it would just be aerial threat, and we'll have Casemiro and Maguire. They'll be our only threat. That's why he's sending him there the last 10 minutes. So I like Maguire. I don't mind Maguire, Euro, and Mazraoui. I like Mazraoui there. But Martinez, 100%, he's like our playmaker. He's our ball playing. You need someone that can ball play. And Martinez coming in and that 100%. But if we're going off right now with Martinez injured, I'm cool Mazraoui and Euro there still. That's my back three.
I would say, just quickly then, if De Ligt isn't going to be a starter, then we need to be looking to try and sell him in January or end of season. Because you can't have a 25-year-old on 200k plus sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
As a defender, it's different when you're like a outfield player, but that's too expensive. We're not at that level where we can afford to that. I would just cash in. I'm not his biggest fan, so.
But that's the thing with it. Though he is a kind of a warrior though. But like you're saying, if we're defending, he's the best player ever because he's just heading it out. It's such a calamity could happen. But if we're trying to attack a counter-attack team, so a team like Everton or Burnley or something, you might not really need him. He just does the easy pass. He's like a Ugarte, isn't it?
I'd go Mazraoui, De Ligt, and Euro. I think we all agree Euro he has to start. That kid has got so much potential. I'm really hoping we see him fully fit for the rest of the season. It's a tough one between Maguire and De Ligt. I think both of them have a mistake in them, and regardless of which one you put at the back, in the centre of that three, there's always going to be that worry that one of them will have a bozo moment and something happens. But both of them equally on the other end of the pitch can put the ball in the back of the net from a dead ball situation. So it's that's why I love this panel, because you get those little bit of some like Maguire, some don't, some fancy Mazraoui, some don't. Absolutely not, by the way, Ben. I think Shaw honestly, I don't know what happens with this guy this season. I just don't know. I mean, look, if there was in the realms of possibility that Luke Shaw's injury problems were behind him and we had a lean, fit Luke Shaw, then you'd absolutely say put him down the left wing back. He can bomb up and down. He can do it, but we're not going to get that from him. He is a tackle away every time from looking and thinking, that's him out for 4 months. That's him out for 5 months. When Ollie was there, we had up until Euro 2021. I think he was one of the top 3 left backs in Europe. He was consistent. He was stunning. A big part of the way Rashford was doing so well. They had such a link on that left. And then it's just gone so bad, and his injuries are horrendous.
He's another one we need to get rid of because he's another one expensive. He's 28 now or 29. And I think part of the reason why Shaw's still there, obviously the manager likes him and he's can play left side centre back or left wing back, but he's homegrown and we're losing quite a few homegrown quota players. So that's why there's no talk of Shaw or Mount going. But I think if we had more of a stronger core where homegrown wasn't an issue, then the club might try and cash him in and tell him, we'll pay you some of your wages and get you off the books. But his contract's up in 2027, so I could just see him winding it down and just going for free. Which
I was begging for Southampton to stay up. I thought that's the dream transfer. Off he goes back to Southampton. You know, he's going home, and it didn't fucking happen. Question from Chappie from earlier on. It says, "Do you think that the Club World Cup will become a Super League?" It's a good question, that, because I kind of feel like they were trialing this a little bit. They were seeing how people would react to it. I mean, I didn't watch much. The only games I watched were the ones where Rios was playing, because I really wanted to get a good look at that midfielder, which by the looks of it, it looks like, newsflash, I think United have lost out on him as well. It looks like he's going to fucking Roma. Another midfielder that would have cost us 26 million, and we lose out again. It fucking baffles me. But what do you guys think about that? What do you think about the Club World Cup and it being a Super League?
I don't think it'll be a Super League. When is it? Every 4 years or something?
Every 4 years, yeah.
Nah, I don't think it'll be a Super League, man. I just think they are starting to take it serious. It felt like the Super Bowl, innit? Like, even at half time. It took about half an hour after half time, but I don't think it'll turn into a Super League, though. I don't think it'll take it that serious, because remember that the players are already complaining there's too much football. So all these international, as soon as we come back, we got 3 games and then this international break again. It's not. It's just it's never stopping. So I doubt it, man. That would be crazy if they turn that into a Super League and it carries on going. They turn it into a year or 2 years. I don't think it will happen.
Sorry, Tez, go on.
Oh no, go.
No, I was going to say they can't do it for the players' welfare as well. I think they're slowly starting to kill the players. What were you going to say, mate?
100%. I was just going to say because this is the first time they've expanded it to 32 teams. They had it in America because the next World Cup's going to be in America. That's the only reason why it was kind of like the Super Bowl kind of thing, because it's an American thing. But they also had it in America because I think half of the stadiums that the teams played in are going to be used in the World Cup. So they planned it to test out logistics of what the World Cup will be like. I don't mind it, but at the same time, I do think it's too much football. They were saying that was it Chelsea? Did Chelsea win the Conference League or whatever? There's some players who played last July and they're still playing now.
Of course. That's a good shout. I didn't even think about that.
They've got 12 months of playing, and then what will happen is the season starts in 4 weeks, so they might have 2 weeks off. So they missed 2 weeks of pre-season. By the time they're probably up to match speed, it'll be game week 4. And you're just going to see kind of the quality of the leagues around Europe for some teams dip a little. It's just going to have a knock on. And then World Cup next year. And it's a lot for the players. It's a lot.
Says what you're saying, mate, is, United finished, a month and a half ago. It's a free hit for us, lads. We've had a lovely few weeks off. We're ready to go. We'll be absolutely fucking smashing it. There is news just dropping, guys, and I'm going to put it under. I'm going to file it under absolute nonsense. But apparently now Juventus are interested in Marcus Rashford, Di Marcio. That bloke just pulls names out of a hat, I think.
He's been unreliable this one here, man. He used to be reliable before.
So bad.
Juventus can't afford him.
No, of course they can't. They're struggling to agree terms with fucking Sancho. So what makes them think they'll go out and then do that? Moxie says Club World Cup was a joke. Chelsea fans going to be more unbearable than Chelsea. And then Arsenal, they didn't play a hard game until the final. Well, Benfica, while PSG had played Bayern and Real in their previous 2 games, it was a step too far for PSG. That team, man, though, that's going to go on and dominate. Honestly, the way he's got them playing. But guys, I've kept these 2 gents on 15 minutes longer than I promised I would. Thank you both of you for coming on tonight. This is something that we want to do weekly, and obviously availability wise, we'd love to have you back on. It's always good to hear different viewpoints with Manchester United. And look, if we get this done next week, hopefully we're sat here saying we got a new player. Hopefully, I'm not sure if I've got the hope for that. Metch, where can we find you, my guy?
Metric Bay, man. Metric Bay on YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, whatever. It's all there, man.
Spot on, mate. Spot on. And Tez?
Same Tezky on Twitter or X, whatever it's called, and TikTok, Instagram, everything. My @ is the same for absolutely everything. It'll be me.
Spot on, guys. Well, look, thank you very much for joining, guys. If you're watching this back on replay. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe. The road to 400 still continues. Other than that, I'm off tomorrow night. It's Mrs. Robinson's birthday. She's actually at her friends tonight watching Love Island. Read into that what you will. That is the worst TV program ever. I can't stand it. It makes me feel better about myself watching these people, but that's for another time. Guys, we are out of here. Dan United, Bryan Brigade, Tez and Metch out.